Hey guys, welcome to a special edition of Crushing Tins. You're with Clutz and Darc today, and we're going to bring you the half hour of sour. Now, probably the most common question that we've got since starting the page, I would say, Darc, I don't know if you'd agree, but I think the most common question we've got is, what is a sour?
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, anytime we've posted anything about a sour, people have sort of gravitated towards it the most. I think maybe just because it's something so different and enjoyable that everyone's been getting around. So yeah, it's been going off on our page every time we post anything about it. So
Yeah, definitely. I think it's, for me, I suppose, before this page, I'd never had a sour really. I'd have
yeah,
one,
same
but I'd
here.
only tasted it once. Yeah, exactly. So it's just such a different beer. It's not like other beers. Like, IPAs are like pale ale, sort of, just a bit stronger. But a sour isn't really like anything else.
Yeah,
Um,
and they're so
so
different. Like the different sours, you know what I mean? You can have some that are completely different to other ones. Even I suppose it's the same with all like pale ales and IPAs and stuff. But yeah, different flavors and
yeah,
levels of
definitely.
sour and stuff. So
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we've sort of been talking during this coronavirus stuff, and we figured let's go through some of the beers, and we might as well start with sours so we can actually better explain exactly what sours are, so you know what you're getting yourself into. So,
yeah,
Darcy, I believe you've done a bit of research during
yeah,
the week.
bit of a shit time. So usually we'd be getting together to do the podcast and record it and have a few beers, but we're catching up via Zoom. But yeah, we just thought we'd try and do a bit more of an educational one, short, sharp one, because it's going to be hard for us to sort of, or harder to sit down with anyone from breweries and places like that. So while we've got some spare
Definitely.
time outside of work and stuff, just punch some out. But yeah, um, done a bit of research over the last couple of days because, please excuse me.
Oh,
Much like
oh,
Josh, I'd never had a sour before this page, a sour beer. So I really had no idea what they were, but all I know that is that I really enjoy them.
yeah,
So I reckon, and also I want to preface this by saying I'm definitely not an expert, and I've just learned all of this through Google. So if there's someone out there who's, sort of more acquainted with it than me, and I'm butchering it, I apologize. But yeah, we don't claim to know everything. We're just trying to stuff we're interested in, and you guys might be interested in it too. So just delve a little bit deeper into it. But for me, I reckon that sours have been really popular because, well, between us and our group and stuff, and is because they're not really like any other beer. It's sort of like what you said before. It's really easy to drink. They're not really offensive. Really light and refreshing. Almost, I hate saying it, but it's closer to like a soft drink rather than a beer, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
definitely. It's also, I reckon it's sort of like a soft drink cider beer
Yeah,
combination. It's like everything in one. It's fizzy. It's it's a bit nicer tasting on the palate, I suppose. It's a bit easier tasting as well. So I think as well, what I was just thinking when you were going through the reasons why we're enjoying them, I think we're very lucky that we tried them in summer as well,
yeah, big time.
because it's the perfect thirst quenching. Thinking about it, and now that you've mentioned the soft drink, it sort of reminds me of I don't know, when you used to finish cricket back in the day, if you got a soft drink afterwards. But I used to gravitate towards a solo for that
Yeah,
thirst quenching taste. So it's, to
goes
me,
down
sours
fast.
are always, yeah, bloody oath, almost as fast as my right arms over the wickets. Yeah, how good.
I think as well, they're like I know that a lot of beer nerds and stuff like that really enjoy them as well because they are there's so many different crazy combinations and flavors and different layers. Like I know even talking to when we went to Helios, talking to Charlie, he's like, some are really balanced with this and that. Like I had no idea what he was talking
Mm,
about, but there's a lot to love for like people who
yeah,
are really into their beer as well. So they're not really like polarizing. I feel like there are the odd people who don't enjoy them, but most people really love to get around them.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but yeah, from my limited research, so as the name implied, these beers are brewed intentionally acidic, tart, or sour due to the use of wild yeast and or bacteria strains. So sour beers vary wildly in flavor and intensity. Bacteria and wild yeast would normally be a no-no in traditional brewing processes. So I think with your normal beer, like your lager and sort of thing, bacteria is like, it like literally wrecks the beer. But
Yeah.
with the sours, that's actually what gives it its sour taste. So it's like the acidity levels in the beer,
Okay.
which obviously give it the sour taste. So there's different types of bacteria that are used for different ones, and there was all these big long names and stuff that I'm not even going to try and
Yeah.
pronounce. But yeah, as a part of the brewing process, they create lactic acid and acetic acid, which I think is vinegar.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's sort of what gives it the sour taste and how it's different to all other beers, which is pretty cool.
It's pretty interesting because I know from different brewery tours we've been on ourselves, or even way back in school when we went on the brewery tour for a business thing. The main thing that, and also from my old man telling me what used to happen, the main thing that I've always known about breweries, or sort of had an understanding of, is the cleanliness side of things, to avoid having your bacterias and all that. Like I know good old Isaac Woody used to do some homebrew, and he said, a little bit of air got in and some bacteria started creating, and that was 20 litres of beer down the drain straight away. So I'm wondering, I don't know if it's in your research or not, but it sounds like a sour was accidentally created almost by
Yeah. Well,
this
actually,
sort of like,
I haven't covered it off, funnily enough.
oh,
But it could have
oh,
been. But something that, and I haven't put it in my notes here, but like something that I had read, I actually read a lot of blog posts from different brewers and breweries and stuff like that. And they were all saying that they've got to be really careful when they brew their sours, because they can cross-contaminate their other beers. Like if there's wild bacteria and stuff. Oh, cha-cha.
sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, if there's wild yeast and things like that within the brewery, it can spread to their other beers and wreck their other brews. So
Interesting.
it's pretty cool. When you think about it, it's like, yeah, bacteria that we're not supposed to drink, but that's what makes it so good.
That is very interesting, actually. I suppose we keep getting a little bit sidetracked at the moment, having two of our favourite sours.
Yeah, usually we would be reviewing
But
beers if we were having beers together, but
yeah,
we also both, I'm on the Colonial Southwest, and
yeah,
I can
and
see
I'm
you're
on
on
the
the,
Brooklyn Bears.
yeah, we're both very well acquainted with these two sours, and they're both
Yeah.
10 out of 10, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. There's a reason why they've both featured as beers of the week.
Yeah,
So
exactly right. And that these are becoming a staple in my diet as well. Almost every time I go to the bottle, I just grab another six pack.
definitely, I was at the Bottle yesterday, and the first thing I said was, "Oh, where's the sour selection?" They didn't really have much either, and I was sort of disappointed. So I think that speaks volumes about where these beers sit for myself and us, I suppose. Like they are such a tasty little treat.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry to sidetrack there. It's interesting then that they encourage the growth of bacteria, but it is such a high risk. It sounds like
Yeah,
that would
I think so. Like, and we'll get into it a little bit later when, like, I'll talk about the brewing process. It's in itself a little bit. But yeah, it seems like it's can get really out of hand and wreck shit. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure these ones, I know yours is a sour ale. I think this is the same as well.
yeah,
There's different types of sour. So you've got the Goza,
yeah, true.
and I've just got a
Yep.
little like blurb about them. So Goza is a top fermenting beer which originated in Germany, which in addition to its sourness is characterized by the use of salt to provide its distinct flavor. So I'm trying to think of it.
Okay.
I've had a that water bomb one from Black Ops.
Yeah.
Was a watermelon goza. So I think we've had a few of
Yeah.
those as well, which I'm big fan. I'm trying to think of what other ones I've had. That's
Cucumber and mint, one of
yeah,
Jay's favorites, the cucumber and mint by Black
the
Ops.
Black Ops. Yeah,
Now that you mention it, like to me, Gozas aren't the most sours,
mm,
and I didn't actually know they had some salt introduced to them,
yeah,
but that sort of makes a bit of sense. Probably the salt balancing out the acidity, I suppose, and
mm.
making it a
And I think
bit
that's what
less.
makes. Again, I don't know much about beers or sours, but I think that's what makes a good sour is one that's quite balanced. You know what I mean? Like even that
Mm,
the Bel Air one's like it's almost sweet, but then when it finishes off, it's like really tart. And I don't know that I find the
yeah.
second one of those Bel Air sours actually goes down easier than the first.
Oh, definitely. I'm on to my second right now, and I'm halfway through it. And I
I don't
cracked it
know.
about a
I don't
minute
know
and a
what
half.
I don't know what time we started recording, but we're not very far in. I'd say under 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
Clutzy's on bit number 2. It's been a hard day
Yeah,
at work though,
Oh, it has been. It has been, but and
mate.
that's
But
why see, I was perfect for
yeah,
after a hard day of work. You know,
get
I'm
home,
feeling so refreshed already.
punch one out. You're working 2 jobs at the moment, mate. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, who knew?
Someone's got to
Who
do it.
fucking knew?
The only bloke that's
Yeah.
busier during the coronavirus.
Yeah, fuck. Smashing meat and packing fucking shelving. So,
Yeah,
oh,
someone's got to do
how
it.
good.
Essential
Yeah,
workers.
exactly. Essentially, supplying my beer habits, I
Yeah,
suppose. At least I can buy piss during this time. So,
yeah, the sour habits. We'll make for some good virtual podcasts and virtual beers.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
So
So we
then,
had the Goza. What was the next
yeah,
type you
we've
had
also
there?
got the Berliner Weiss. So a tarty,
Yeah,
cloudy German beer, typically around 3% alcohol and often alcoholic volume, and often served with a fruity syrup. It's a
yep.
good entry level point into the world of sours. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of these ones, like the wheat beer.
I'm not
Um,
either, to be honest.
yeah, I
Uh,
actually did have one of my first ones was I'm trying to think, it was the Wayward one. I can't think what it's called, the pink can.
I just had a look at the raspberry one, raspberry
Yeah,
Berlin Weiss.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now that was probably my first one that I had as well of the Berlin. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Berliner
Fucking.
Weiss, I think. I don't know. I don't
That's
know if that's how
yeah.
you say it. That's how it's written.
Yeah.
Sue
That's where
me.
we're at. But
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Fucking crucify me. But yeah, no, I agree. That was the first one of its type that I had. Was the Wayward one, and
Yep.
look, Wayward do amazing beers. We covered
Yeah.
them. We covered a few of their beers when we did our burger eating day.
Burger
They got
Brisbane.
awesome beers. Yeah, exactly. So they got awesome beers, but that was my first one of their beers they had. And I'm glad it wasn't my last because yeah, I'm just not a fan of the wheat. And I know a few members of the group, if I remember correctly, Tim Shepherd, Jeeps man. His first sour he had was one of those ones, the Wayward one.
I think Jackson as well.
And
Jackson Buckby.
yeah, and Shep wasn't a big fan. I don't think Bach was a big fan either. Um, and you know, we suggested we suggested these two actually that we're drinking now, and sort of pulled them around a bit. So it's funny they say it's a good entry level one because for myself, my expectation for a sour when I first looked up sour was, oh, I'm going to be eating a warhead. Like
See, it's funny though because I think it was
excuse me.
my first sour, and I actually really enjoyed it. I was like, "Holy shit, this is so good!" But maybe it was just because I've had it again since and sort of been like a bit unsure about it. And I think maybe it's just because I'd never had a sour, I never had anything like it. I was like, "Oh my god, this is," you know what I mean? And then after tasting a few of the other ones, I think it's just the style. I don't like wheat beer in general, like just not
Yeah,
sours either. So
neither
it's
do
probably
I.
just that. But like we don't want to talk down on it because I enjoyed it the first time I had it, but I probably wouldn't have it again when I could have something like this.
Yeah.
But then we've also got a Flanders Red Ale. Now I haven't actually seen any of these in any bottle shops here, but everywhere I looked online, it seemed to mention it. So I felt like we probably should. There's a few other ones that I haven't mentioned just because they
Okay.
seemed a bit random. Maybe they're from, I don't know, overseas. I don't even know what websites I was getting half this stuff from, but
Yeah.
so it's sometimes referred to as a Flemish red. These Belgian beers with a distinctive red hue are fermented with brewer's yeast and aged in oak barrels until mature. So I don't know if you've had any of them.
Bro, we have had one of I just did a quick search. We have had one of these on Matson's podcast.
Oh, really? Which
Do
one?
you remember that I'll see if I can get a picture of it up here. It was the Fathom beer aged in French oak
Oh,
barrels.
yeah. Jay bought it.
Jay bought it.
Yes,
This
I
bad
do
boy
remember
here.
that. I think I have one of them in
Now,
my fridge.
I'm not a fan of these beers. The thing of so we've had a couple on tap at work. Now obviously working at a bar, you're meant to be selling your stock. You're gonna try and get rid of it, but you're also meant to be pushing shit that you like.
Yeah,
And
providing you don't
when
want to
you're
have a
honest,
customer to have a bad beer and not enjoy
yeah,
the
exactly.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was a real sore point for me, I suppose, behind the bar was on one end, I'm trying to clear stock, I'm trying to sell this beer, but on the other end, I don't want people to not enjoy it because it's honestly such a different tasting beer. I think maybe as wankerish as it sounds, but as we get older, maybe as the palate develops a bit more, it might become a nicer beer. Another thing for me though is I enjoy just sitting down and smashing a beer quickly. I feel like this might be better to sit on. So
sort of a different occasion.
Exactly. Like one of the ones that we had at work, it tasted. It was obviously barrel aged because that's what it is. I didn't know it was called a Flanders Red Ale.
Yeah, neither did I.
But yeah, so we had it there, and it was weird. It tasted like Southern Comfort, and it's just really sweet, but it's not sour. I wouldn't call it sour. I'd call it incredibly sweet. So it's got that. To me, it tasted like Southern Comfort. I don't know if all of them taste the same, but I've had another one that tasted sort of similar. The one that Jay brought, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't
too bad. That was a green beacon one. But I wouldn't be able to have a lot of them. So yeah, as I said, maybe I think that would be one to investigate.
Yeah, so maybe it's one of the
get into it a bit more.
Not as sour ones. Like it's probably sour by definition because of how it's brewed or whatever, but it didn't really have that sour taste. Yeah. And then the last one is an American sour ale, which I'm pretty sure is what both of the ones we're drinking are, the Southwest Sour and the Bel Air Sour. So they're US sour beers, typified by the unusual strains of bacteria and yeast to brew them. So I think we'll get into like how they're brewed and stuff a bit later, but I think what happens is with most sour ales is they actually start with like a normal brew process and then they add in bacteria at a certain step. So like a sour ale, is started off the same way that like a pale ale started, and then instead of going one way, they add the bacteria in to make it sour. So
yeah, true. Cool. That is very interesting.
I do think though that they're the ones I like the best, the sour ales. Did a bit of research like after I read this. I was like, because we both like the those brouhaha sours. I checked and they're both like sour ales as well. Yeah. So
okay.
I reckon, although they say the Berliner Weiss is a good place to start, and some people might like them. If you like wheat beers, you'll probably like them. But I reckon if you're going to have a crack, we've said it 100 times, these ones, brouhaha. But yeah, look out for a sour ale, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. I think when you're going in, like as I said, my expectation for a sour beer was it's going to be sour. It's going to be like a warhead. So obviously, by the sounds of things, these American sour ales are just that.
Yeah, sour. So, funnily enough,
just having a quick look on here, I typed in American sour ale, and yeah, you got Colonial. You've got that Green Beacon 7 Bells. Mm-hmm. That was one actually I didn't enjoy.
The passion fruit one? Is that the passion fruit one? Yeah, I haven't had that.
Purple can.
I feel like people have gone either way with that one. They've either been like, it's sick, or no, I'm not a fan.
When I first had it, I wasn't a big fan. I had it off tap and I had it there, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. But I think since getting into this a bit more, I have enjoyed it thoroughly. Whether that's just me being a beer wanker or the palate evolving, anything like that. Exactly. But I just really enjoyed it. So so that's they're the ones you've looked into.
Yeah, there was a few other ones, but they seem pretty random. And just from, I'm probably wrong as well. They probably are in all the bottlers and stuff, but like those sort of 4 stood out as the ones that I've seen quite a bit, if that makes sense. So I thought, Brizzy, they're probably the ones you'll find at the bottle shop. So it made sense to cover them.
Yeah, definitely.
So apparently sours actually aren't easy to brew. They're actually really difficult to brew. And in many ways, they go against all traditional brewing procedures, which, as I said before, focus on like keeping bacteria and wild yeast completely out of the brewing process. So there's two main ways you can brew a sour beer, and it essentially comes down to how it's sort of mixed, either in metal or wood. So the first one is a kettle sour, which means it's brewed in metal. It's a more streamlined, safer way to brew. So like it's easy to keep your hygiene in check and sort of keep on top of the bacteria and stuff from what I've read. So apparently the normal brew process is followed. So you, what they call mash in wheat and barley, which I think is mix that together, and it produces wort, which is what
Yeah.
then it's like a liquid which is used to brew. So they
Yeah.
mash in the wheat and the barley and then run the wort off into the metal kettle. And then
Okay.
usually they'd boil that and add in the hops. But instead, if they're brewing a sour at that point, they'll sterilize the wort. They'll bring it to a temperature to sterilize it, cool it to 40 degrees, which is the perfect temperature for bacteria and like wild yeast and stuff to thrive and survive.
Yep.
And then they'll add in their own different types of bacteria and let it sit within there from 24 to 48 hours to develop the sour taste. So literally, instead of like boiling it off, adding in the hops, they pause it, make the perfect environment for bacteria to like live and grow, add their bacteria in, which develops a sour taste over a couple of days, and then add the hops in and send it off to the fermenter to ferment, which is like the normal brew process.
That's crazy, man. It literally sounds like a foodie's worst nightmare, like a kitchen's worst nightmare.
Yeah. Sounds like dirty.
Exactly. Like you're always told, the food danger zone's between 5 and 65 degrees.
Yeah.
So like,
and they've got it at 40.
Exactly. The fact that they're putting it right smack bang in the middle there.
Yeah.
To actively grow those different bacterial cultures and stuff, that's insane.
So I think for those,
it really, yeah.
I was going to say, I think for like a kettle sour, so when they introduce it, they actually like propagate the bacteria themselves. So they grow it in like whatever, I don't know how the fuck they do it, but they have their own sort of, they can use different bacteria and stuff.
Yeah, little like cultures and stuff.
To change the taste. I mean, like, I don't know, this one makes it this and that one makes it that. So I think that's the more sort of control way to do it. But the other way to do it is to barrel age brew it, which is in wood. So barrel sours are the original sour beers and follow a traditional brewing method of cultivating the bacteria needed. The bacteria that is needed is grown actually in the wood of the barrels. So the bacteria is allowed to run wild, cultivating its own unique and highly nuanced flavors. So essentially they're a lot harder to control. Instead of breweries introducing their own bacteria into the kettle, they have open fermenters, which they fill up with over hundreds of years of good microflora from the brewery. So it's literally just like, instead of cooling it down to 40 degrees and putting in your own bacteria, you're literally just letting it sit in a wooden barrel, which is like old and covered in bacteria.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's the bacteria that's in the wood of the barrels that makes it sour rather than something they've developed themselves. So with this one, there comes like a really, really high risk of cross-contamination. And like the brew can also go crazy, but it also can lead to some pretty crazy flavors. So that's pretty cool.
That is interesting. If you were to tell me that, then like, oh yeah, this is a beer that, we just we let it sit and then it grows
in a wooden barrel. Yeah,
in a wooden barrel. I'd be like, yeah, no, goodbye for now. And
just well, that must
goosey my way out of it.
But that Fathom one that we had must have been brewed in a wooden barrel, which is pretty cool.
It's like a tradition. Yeah, that's pretty sick. Yeah, the fact that you put it in the wooden barrel, let it age, like that's just and they're sticking to that sort of traditional way of brewing beer that's pretty cool and unique.
So I read that Black Hops, because they started in what they call their HQ, which is like a pretty small building. They've done a couple of brews like that in there, but they won't do it they built another brewery and tap room, which is much bigger, and they won't do it there because they're scared if it gets out of control, it'll like ruin too much stock, which is pretty crazy.
That's insane.
And I also read that Black Hops use Inner Health Plus capsules, which you can get from the chemist, and apple juice, among a few other things, to propagate their bacteria for their kettle sours.
Jeez, that is so
pretty scat. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Have you had your Inner Health Plus today?
Had 400 Black Ops sours. So yes.
So basically, what you're trying to say is if you're watching your health, go to Black Ops and grab some of their sours because it's full of Inner Health Plus.
Exactly. Basically, if you're watching your health in general, is just to drink sour beer.
Drink sour beer.
Good bacteria.
Yeah, bloody oath. No, it sounds like possible COVID-19 cure. Head down to your local tap room.
Not confirmed, but we'll give it a crack. Yeah. Maybe we can run some content with that coming up. The cure to COVID is in here.
Yeah, fuck, can't be any worse than American evangelists blowing COVID away. So
Oh yeah. Let's not
yeah,
go there.
oh yeah, definitely not. That's another time.
Yeah.
But
So I
yeah,
guess
sweet. So yeah,
I
please
guess
continue.
yeah. I was gonna say that's pretty much all I've done in terms of research. But I guess yeah, the thing that makes sour beer sour is actually dirty bacteria, which is not normally encouraged in brewing, but it's actually what they use to make the flavors. And it's pretty cool when you think about it that they use different strains of bacteria and stuff to create different flavors, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, definitely. It's something very like unique. Like the fact that there's such a high risk as well. I'm wondering maybe if that's why Charlie from Helios hasn't
Done one. Yeah.
expanded into it, because
Yeah.
it sounds as though for small breweries, if you were to fuck it up, ooh,
Yeah,
what
that's
are you
actually
cracking?
true as. I was just playing with my
Yeah.
thing,
Oh,
so
fair
the
enough.
top of my can.
Thought you were cracking another bevy. But yeah, it sounds as though like there's such a high risk there, so maybe some of them don't want to. But sours seem to be incredibly popular thing at the moment, and if you want to stay with the trends and keep those sales booming, you got to
Because
have a crack at it.
Jay mentioned that they might be doing a sour, so I don't know if that's still happening, but I think he said he
Yeah,
went in there and spoke to Tony or something, so have to wait and see.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, they do good
That'd be
beers.
very good. I would
But
definitely
I
love to
think you're
break
right.
into
Like,
that.
I think we found people who aren't necessarily into craft beer, like we sort of aren't, or definitely weren't before we started, have really gotten around the sours, as we said,
Yeah,
because they don't really taste like beers, easy to drink, refreshing, blah, blah, blah. But even within craft circles and stuff, like everywhere we went for like Brews Vegas stuff and like any craft beer bar or bottle shop you go to, they've got a massive range of sours on. So they definitely seem to be on trend.
yeah.
And I can definitely see why. So if you still haven't tried one, if you're listening to this now and you haven't tried one, what is wrong with you? Because we've basically been banging on about it for like 4 months. And if you're this far into the podcast, this far into like the group, then you definitely should have tried one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just get out there and have a crack. And the ones that we're drinking as well, just a little unpaid plug for them. The beauty about these is you get them in 6-packs, so it's not like your traditional crafties that come in 4-packs,
Or
and they're the
yeah,
same price as a 4-pack basically. So
yeah,
24, $26 for 6 of these.
yeah.
Value for
Actually, I
money,
saw.
tasty time.
I don't know when I'm going to release this. Hopefully tomorrow. What day is it today? Monday. I was at Black Sheep in the Gap on Friday, and they had strawberry and rhubarb from Brouhaha 4-pack for $19. It's like oof. So
Fuck.
get out there and that's another good one.
Jeez.
While we're on the topic, top five, Clutzy, what are they? Your top five
Top
sours.
5. All right, in no particular order. So I've got 2 from Brouhaha first up. That's your strawberry and rhubarb, and then their limited release watermelon and
I hope
lime.
they do that
So
again this year. Hey?
definitely, I think when we were up there for your birthday, the owner was sitting there smacking them all day, smacking beers all day, and then we got chatting to him, and he said, it was our limited release beer, but it's been our most popular limited release beer. So there's a very good chance it'll be coming back for the summer of 2020. So if you guys didn't get a chance to look out for it, it sounds like they're bringing it back, and it might be a permanent seasonal beer by the sounds of things, which would be awesome. So we've got those 2. Got the Brooklyn Bel Air Sour, which I'm smacking into. Beauty about this one is you can find it in majority of bottle shops. Funnily enough, just a little sidetrack. Brooklyn Brewery secured a contract maybe a year ago or under a year ago, around that time period with 4X with Lion Nathan. So this, I'm fairly sure, don't quote me on it, gets brewed over here now, but you can get the
Cool.
Brooklyn Brewery beers a lot more accessible over here. And with that being part of Lion Nathan, obviously a lot of venues are contracted to Lion Nathan. And they do have a fair amount of ship beers, but they're going to get this into a lot of
Yeah, I've
venues.
seen that
So
on
just
tap.
ask
I
if
saw
they
it on
got it.
tap at it's in the Valley, the Osborne. They had it on tap there. I've seen it on
Yeah.
tap in a few places. So
It's coming on tap in so many different places purely because of that. So if you go to a place that has a lot of Lion Nathan beers like 4X and shit like that, give them an ask if they've got this, and you won't regret it. Another one, Southwest
Yeah, big shout out.
Colonial
Southwest Sour.
Sour. Bloody
Rip the lid
eyes.
off.
So, it's amazing. I constantly get messages. Sorry, excuse me.
Whoops.
Oops, I slept. I
Happened
constantly
again.
get messages about the Colonial Sour. Good old Woody from Blind Tiger. He did a review actually in the group while in quarantine for having coronavirus. He's over it now. Good on him. What a legend. He sent me one today, and he's like, I've seen you boys banging on about this so long. Had my first sip, and oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet. That's
I don't
good.
think
That's another one.
I
Like,
don't think I've
welcome to
spoken to
Sour
anyone
Country.
that hasn't enjoyed them. They are so good.
Wazzy Toulis won't stop Snapchatting me
She
about
sent me
Colonial Sours.
she
So
sent us a thing on Instagram last night. I put it on her story and tagged us. So
should have been so stoked with that. So yeah, so it's another one. It's very easy drinking. Shout out to Speaks, who was officially the third member
yeah,
of our
big
first
up
15.
Speaks.
So he was the one who
introduced him.
introduced us to sours. I am very glad for that. I know a lot
Yeah.
of people are. So yeah, that's number 4. And number 5, one which it's pretty hard to find at the moment, but it can be found at Black Sheep bottle shops and when it reopens Blind Tiger. It's called the Face Inverter Sours. Now, it's from a little brewery down in South Australia. I forget the name.
Little Bang, I think.
Okay, that's the one there. So, when we did our podcast with Joe from the Blind Tiger, he put that on. He said, I haven't had this yet, but I've been looking forward to it. And with the name Face Inverter and the can as well,
It's
it
hectic.
makes you
Google the
think
can.
like it's so cool. Like it makes you think you're gonna scrunch up your face, and it does have that massively sour element to it. So if you like me and enjoy sucking lemons, I love eating lemons. So bit weird, but it's like that. It's
It's
literally
almost
you
like a
just
hard
drinking
lemonade,
lemon.
hey?
It is. It's like a
Yeah.
hard lemonade or the lemon juice that you get
Yeah.
in the little yellow bottle. It's like that, but it gets you blind.
It's
So
funny. I feel like when we did that podcast, I saw that everywhere, and now it's like gone. So maybe they just did like a really limited run of it, and there's none like anywhere now. But hopefully they fire it back up and get it out there again. Because I saw it at
yeah,
like most Blind
definitely.
Tigers and even a few other places that stock craft beers. So
Yeah, definitely. Oh shit! Sorry, I just thought of one as well. Honorable mention, and probably should be in the top 5. Melon DeGeneres.
yeah, I was gonna say that as well.
We can't forget Melon
Yeah,
DeGeneres.
I don't even know who
That's
that's from.
uh
Yeah, Moondog. Yeah, you're right. It is Moondog.
Moondog. Moondog did a series of mullet-related
I think they
beers or
just did
something,
a strawberry one or something. Just came out.
with David Bowie or
Yeah, I
something
haven't
like
tried
that.
it
Yeah,
yet. So
yeah. So, but that's another cracking one. Honestly, like there's a few coming to my mind now. I could go on with so many
go
different
to our
ones that are
group. There's
there.
so many people throwing reviews up in the group. Like,
Exactly. Go
yeah,
have a look at that.
but
Check out the Beer Finder as well
there's
to get
6.
some. So,
Yeah, electric dry hop acid test. There's 7.
oh shit, yeah.
There's
Garage
so many.
Project.
Yeah, there's 7 to get
The
you through.
Chinese tea one that looks like a wine bottle.
If you've
A
had
Japanese tea one.
if you have all those 7 and you still want another one, send us a message and we'll recommend another one for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny actually. My cousin who used to live with me, Jordana, she swung me a message a few weeks back, and she's like, "Oh, what's a list of sours? Like we've been really enjoying them." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll get a list together. What have you already had?" She just sent back like a list of 5 or 6, and I was like, "Fuck." And then I sat down and thought about it, sent back another 10 or so.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if she's got through that, but there's plenty of them out there. So
Yeah.
definitely.
And we definitely haven't tried them all. So
that's
just
the
because we
best
haven't
thing.
mentioned it doesn't mean it's not a good one.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I suppose from that, if you guys don't know what you want to have or you want some recommendations, chuck it up in the group, swing us a message.
Beer finder.
Anything like that, exactly.
Yeah.
Beer finder,
There's
anything like that.
plenty of recommendations out there.
We will throw recommendations at you like there's no tomorrow.
So I reckon we're almost just over that. Well, I think we already are over the half hour, so that doesn't really matter. But we had a few Q&As that people sent in through Instagram, Clutzy. I think we've already answered half of them just through the chat, but we can go back over them again. So Harry Mecca said that he wanted to learn everything. I definitely don't think we covered everything, but we covered a fair bit in there.
Hopefully you've learned a little bit more about, I suppose, the 4 types of sours we went through.
I hope did you learn something? Because like I feel like
I actually learned something. Dude, like the names, like the Flanders Red Ale, I honestly thought that so in the past, like I've had a couple of red ales, like the Nine Tails Amber Ale, Red Ale from James Squire. I've always just thought that barrel-aged red ales was an extension of that. I didn't realize they were a sour beer. But coming to think of it, it does have exactly. So, and the fact that, you know, it's actually a dangerous beer to brew when you think about it, because it could ruin your whole operation. So,
yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah, so, no, it's been good.
So next one was from Luke Plaxton. What are the different brewing differences when compared with other beer types? I think we covered that. It's mainly I think some of them even follow like the standard brew procedure, but it's just at that point where they cool them down to 40 degrees and let the bacteria sort of do its thing, either being introduced by them in the metal or like let it run wild in the wooden barrel, which is pretty cool.
So just after that mashing process.
And then Ruby Ford also said, how do they make them sour? Which again is the bacteria.
I actually find that pretty crazy. And it makes me think when we were up at Brouhaha, going back there again, how they said they use the local Mulaney strawberry yogurt.
Yeah.
And they add that. So that's their, obviously,
like
yogurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that it didn't make that connection back then, because I don't know, I wouldn't think of bacteria going into a beer, but now that they say it, yogurt's probably the perfect thing to add for that situation, because it'll make it sour.
Especially Mulaney yogurt. That's sick. So this is one for you that you should be able to answer, Clutzy. My man 83 said, are they like a Stone and Wood?
Fuck no, so much better. I'm not a big Stone and Wood fan. Crucify me, but nothing like a Stone and Wood.
Yeah, they are very different.
Nothing like a Stone and Wood pale ale. Sorry, I should say.
Or even the Pacific Ale, they're completely different too.
Oh yeah, sorry, Pacific Ale. That's what I was meaning. Stone and Wood, however, have done in their counterculture a sour before. Lovely, if you can get your hands on. Who asked that one again, Sorry.
His Instagram handle was myman83. I'm not too sure who it was.
myman83. I love that. Yeah, mate, if you can go out there and have a look at the
Lovely Bubbly.
Lovely Bubbly from Counterculture of Stone and Wood. It's a rosé styled sour. So
delicious.
bloody awesome.
So then Sam Speakman, legend of the game. This is another one that's just good for you. I believe sours are best enjoyed in the heat. How do I combat this in the winter?
All right. Well, Sam, as a person who I know you love smashing beers and I know you love footy, why don't you combine those two things? Now, you can't give them heaps for Jeeps during winter because you're down south these days, but obviously, like, you're a fit-looking bloke. You must work out a fair bit. I don't really know your regime these days, but you are looking pretty mighty fine. I feel as though if you have a 6-pack or 4-pack of sours handy after doing exercise or something like that during winter, might be counterproductive. Who cares? It tastes good. You know, you've earned it. You've worked hard. You've earned it. I know Mike Oxlong, for example. He's a massive fan of sours, and it's probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm disappointed footy season's been postponed down at Jeeps, because that man wouldn't shut up all pre-season about smashing sours down at Jeeps. So I think what I'm trying to say is you can still make yourself hot during winter. Go out there, or even sitting around a fire. Get the boys together. If it's cold, get the boys together at night.
Snuggle up,
Fucking
get close.
Start a fire, exactly. Get a bit tribal and just really go for it and have some sours. That's fair.
Next up was Riley Tweedy. This is a tough one. Where can I get the face inverter? So I haven't seen it anywhere. And I actually sent a message out to Little Bang over the weekend when I put the poll up, and they didn't get back to me, which sucks. But definitely I'd even follow them on Instagram or something and keep an eye out for when they're restocking. But Black Sheep, all the Black Sheep locations had them for sure.
Black Sheeps did have them. The only
Tiger.
places I could think would have them would be my beer dealer under Brisky.
Yeah, true.
I feel like they'd be somewhere that would have them, and maybe Craft, Red Hill,
or even the one at Stafford Tavern. That's actually massive. They might have it. I'll check that.
They might have it as well. So those are 3 hotspots. But Riley Tweedy, if I'm not mistaken, that's Riley Bygraves. Probably the closest place to you would be, I'd say, back Brewski.
Yeah. If anyone's got it, it'll be there.
Yeah, and at the moment, the beauty is it's dead in Caxton Street. So go park somewhere around there, head down to my beer dealer and have a look. Or swing them a message. They're fucking awesome there. So
yeah. And then the last 2 questions sort of go hand in hand. Steph Fitzgerald, why do they taste bad? And Rachel McDonald, why do they taste so much better than normal beer? So I'll let you answer that question and round us out, sign us off.
Alrighty. So I know Rachel doesn't like beer.
Correct.
And I know Steph really likes beer. But I don't know. To be perfectly honest, I feel as though for sours, and this is what I've suggested to a few people who I know who strongly dislike beer, said have a sour because it's sort of designed as that beer to have if you don't like beer. You know, it's not a traditional beer tasting. Having this, I don't taste anything like a lager. I don't taste any of the heavy fruits. It's not heavy. It's very easy drinking. It's like you said, it's like a soft drink. So it gives you a buzz. If that's what you're looking for when you're drinking, it gives you your buzz. But it's easy drinking. It just goes down so easily. And yeah, it's literally like you're not drinking a beer. It's like you're drinking a soft drink cider.
And not everyone's going to like them. Like we know, not everyone's going to like every beer. There's always going to be people that don't like them. So
exactly. So, and I think Steph, maybe the reason I don't know. I'm sort of finding it weird how you as a person don't enjoy sours, to be honest. Maybe you haven't had the right ones, but it's saying that, sours aren't for everyone. So it's like with anything, I don't like wine. I'm not really a big wine drinker.
You don't like Stone and Wood?
Exactly. I don't like Stone and Wood. Stone and Wood Pacific Ale, which was voted #1 craft beer on the Gab's Hottest 100 for 2019. I would not rate in my top 100 beers, probably top 200 beers. Like I literally, I don't like it. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's it. I reckon Steph should try the Southwest Sour. If she doesn't like it, they're probably not for her.
Yeah, exactly. So look, Steph, we are meant to be isolating at the moment. But Anastasia said it's sweet to have another 2 people round. So look, maybe come get on the sauce with myself and Aaron or myself and Darce, and we'll introduce you to a couple of sours. If you don't like them, that's sweet. I do know, well, actually thinking about it, seems pretty logical, but the people I know that don't enjoy sours are the people that don't enjoy things like lemon and sour lollies. Like
makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So look, that might not be you. If it's not, there's no shame in that. I'm not going to judge you any differently.
Plenty of other beers out there.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of other beers out there. So I think, yeah, at the end of the day, stick to your guns, stick to what you enjoy the most. But yeah, I'm sorry, I can't answer that any better. But
I reckon you nailed it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. All right. Thank you.
You want to sign us off? I think we're a little bit over the half hour. What are we going to do? We do everything half-assed anyway, don't
Yeah,
we?
exactly. Well, guys, yeah, exactly. We do a lot of things half-assed, just like beer of the week with the Furphy. So,
Apologies.
yeah, apologies. Yeah, more into that. If you've made it this far, I will be doing something about that to make up for it. So hopefully you enjoy what I've got planned. Yeah, so guys, thanks for tuning in. If you've made it this far, you've been crushing tens in the little bit more than half hour of sour with Darc and Clutz. We'll try and get some more things out to you. Let us know, either message us or comment on this post about what type of beer you want next, or if there's something that you guys want us to try and cover in the podcast. So, yeah, got a couple of different ideas, but we'd love your feedback just to see exactly what you guys want. So once again, thank you for tuning into Bloody Brilliant Beers, Crushing Tins with Clutz and Darc. And guys, as always, remember to give them heaps.
Bye for now.